All right, so picture this. No phone, no apps, no endless scrolling.
Oh, wow.
Kind of hard to imagine, right?
Yeah.
It really shows just how much social media has taken over these days, huh?
It really does.
I mean, it's how we talk to each other, how we get our news, even how we see the world.
You're right. It shapes so much of our lives.
And, based on all the research you sent over, you seem pretty fascinated by this whole thing.
Yeah.
Maybe even a bit worried about, like, the downsides.
Well, yeah. I mean, social media's impact is huge. We have to understand it.
For sure, for sure. So that's exactly what we're going to deep dive into today. The big ways social media has changed our relationships, messed with language, even like turned everyone into online performers,
Mm-hmm.
Plus we'll get into the trickier stuff too, like fake news
All right.
and whether big tech knows a little too much about us, all that good stuff.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about how social media connects us. But like, sometimes at a cost. Have you ever noticed how like we can message friends across the world, but then feel totally alone while sitting right next to someone?
Oh, totally. It's like we're more connected than ever, but also maybe more lonely.
It's like a weird paradox, right?
It is.
I feel like Sherry Turkle really nailed it in her book, Alone Together.
Oh, definitely a must read.
She basically says that, like, we're so busy connecting online that we forget how to connect with people, face to face.
Right. And then we end up feeling lonely, even surrounded by people.
Exactly. Have you ever felt that way yourself?
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to get sucked into the online world, and then you forget to nurture those, like, real-life connections.
Totally. And speaking of changes, can we talk about how social media has basically messed with our language?
Oh, for sure.
Like, emojis are practically a language of their own now?
I know, right?
And don't even get me started on internet slang. It changes so
It's
fast.
faster than you can say hashtag. Right.
Exactly.
I
I feel like I'm learning new slang every day.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe it's not all bad, right? I read somewhere that all this texting and emailing is actually making us better writers.
Yeah. There was a linguist, Gretchen McCulloch, and she did all this research on it.
Oh, cool.
She found that people who, use online communication a lot, they tend to write more concisely and adapt their style better.
Makes sense.
And they're better at tailoring their message for different audiences. That's super valuable these days.
Definitely. It's like our thumbs are getting a workout and our brains are getting more agile.
Exactly.
But okay, let's be real for a second. Social media can also feel kind of like a competition. Right?
Totally.
Like who has the best life, It's all about those picture-perfect moments, the vacations, the smiles.
It's the highlight reel effect.
Oh, yeah.
We're constantly seeing these, like, idealized versions of people's lives.
Yeah.
It's tough not to compare yourself and feel bad.
I know, right? It's so easy to forget that everyone struggles, everyone has bad days.
Exactly. What we see online, it's usually just a carefully curated snapshot, not the whole story.
Definitely something to keep in mind next time you're scrolling through your feed.
For sure.
Speaking of things that aren't always what they seem, let's talk about news on social media. Like, it's amazing how fast information spreads. But that also means, misinformation can spread like wildfire too, right?
Oh, absolutely. The 2016 U.S. election, that was a real turning point. It showed just how powerful fake news could be online.
Yes, scary stuff.
False information can go viral and actually influence people's opinions, even their votes.
So, like, how can people even tell what's real and what's fake these days? Especially when everything online moves so fast.
It's tough.
Yeah.
I'd say one of the biggest things is to really look at the source. Like, is it a reputable news organization?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just like some random website or social media account?
Right. Makes sense.
And also, check if other sources are reporting the same thing. If a bunch of trustworthy outlets are saying the same thing, it's more likely to be accurate.
So, like, fact-checking for the digital age.
Exact.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about something that can feel a bit, creepy. Privacy.
Ooh, yeah.
We share so much about ourselves online, Birthdays, what we like to eat, even our deepest thoughts sometimes.
It's true.
Where does all that information go? And, who has access to it?
It's a valid concern. Every time we use social media, we're basically feeding this massive amount of data to tech companies.
Right.
They use it to, personalize our experience, but they can also use it for targeted ads, even sell it to other companies.
That's kind of unsettling.
It is. There's a constant tension between convenience and privacy.
So how do we even find the right balance? It feels like we have to choose between staying connected and protecting our privacy.
It's tricky. There's no easy answer. One thing you can do is really go through your privacy settings on each platform. Like, choose what you want to share publicly and what you want to keep private.
Okay, that makes sense.
And you can also, just be mindful of how much you're sharing in the first place.
Right, we have more control than we realize sometimes.
We do.
Wow, okay, so we covered a lot today, from how we connect to how we write, even how we consume information. It's clear that social media is powerful, but it also has its downsides.
Absolutely. It's up to us to use it wisely and, critically.
So next time you're scrolling through your feed, take a moment to really think about what you're seeing, who's behind it, and how it might be affecting you.
It's all about being an active participant, not just a passive consumer. That's how we make social media work for us, not the other way around.
And that's our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening, everyone.